Hey everybody, welcome back. We're talking Auburn and their upcoming 2022 season. Let's get into it. What do you say? But before we do that, let's do this.
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be.
Hey, welcome back, boys. Good to have you all tonight. Welcome, Mr. Tidwell from the great state of Alabama, and Patrick. Welcome back to you as well, sir, from
Yes, sir.
the Tar Heel state.
Yes, sir. The
Yeah,
basketball state.
the basketball. How is
Hey,
basketball?
can we talk about Auburn basketball? That'd be great.
I
do
tell you
that.
what, has anybody seen Tom Crean lately? Is that man still alive? They had Tennessee on the ropes at halftime tonight, and Georgia wound up. I was in the chat earlier. We were talking about how it would be the most Georgia thing
To win by 40.
to 40 against Tennessee and let Crean keep his job for a little while. And I said, wait a second. After a while, I thought that's not the most Georgia thing. That's the most Auburn thing.
Yes, it is. Especially when it comes to football.
So we just got off the conversation about expectations and like how is this season going to go, and it's like who knows, man. It's a scatter shot, right? Like there is a huge continuum of how this season could go. So let's talk about some reasons. Let's talk about this first. What's changing? Okay. I want to hit some obvious ones, but now you're going to know way more depth than I do. Clearly. Losing Bo Nix he's gone. He's going to Auburn, right? I'm sorry, he's going to Oregon. He's going over to Oregon, play for new head coach Dan Lanning, formerly defensive coordinator for Georgia. So, how does that sit with you?
I liked Bo. I think that the fans were entirely too tough on him. He never had 2 straight years with the same coordinator. Now, do I think that he's a world beater? No. But I think that there was never an appreciation for the good things he did. And let's be honest, he had unreasonable expectations from the time he came in with who his dad was at the program.
Right.
And then starting off and beating Oregon on the last play, again, typical Auburn fluky game, right?
Mm-hmm.
To where at his freshman year, I hate it because I know that it was the kid's dream to play for the school. And I think that right there told me that there's more going on that meets the eye with some of the behind the scenes stuff with the coaching and stuff like that. Because, I mean, he had 1 year, and when you look at the depth chart at Auburn at quarterback, we had TJ Finley, who the fans were convinced was going to come in, even though he didn't. He couldn't figure out how to do it at LSU, but he was going to magically figure it out at Auburn. I like TJ, but I never thought TJ was the answer. I think that just like this season, the fans are going to have a lot of unreasonable expectations, no matter who is chosen.
Didn't Calzada come over now?
Yeah,
from A&M.
Yeah, you got Calzada. I honestly can't tell you. I don't know who's going to be starting at quarterback. I have no idea because of all of those unknowns. But I do know that no matter what happens, you're going to have that contingency of the fan base, just like every other fan base, that is like, we're going to win a national title, right? And then the first time they have a bad game, they're going to be screaming for them. There'll be people who, like Stetson Bennett the fourth. There were people who thought that he wouldn't win a national title at Georgia.
Most of us thought that.
Those people don't exist.
That's for Ducati, who's not here.
Mark, that's at
he did.
Yeah, he did.
He did. At the 20-minute mark, I need to remember to clip that audio out. No, we'll use that as a stinger on a later episode.
There you go.
There were people who thought Stetson couldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. People were saying, but the point is that in every SEC program like Auburn, I think Auburn, the fans have gotten to this point where they have unreasonable idea of where the program is, right?
What kind of car do you drive, right?
Right, and I think that we're going to get to that point to where we can't just chalk it up to this could be an Auburn season. I think that Auburn is headed for some bad seasons. I think that they're going to slip into a little bit of mediocrity. But the game has changed so much. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the transfers and the NIL stuff and all of that. And so I can't make an informed, you know, decision or prediction
Yeah.
on that because we don't know who the hell's going to sign next year, right?
Right.
And come in the year after.
Right. I've heard it seems like the coaches who speak out the most about it are the coaches that are at the top of the league. You hear negative things from Saban,
Mm-hmm.
Smart, Sweeney,
Mm-hmm.
coaches of that ilk talking
Mm-hmm.
about how this transfer portal thing, this NIL thing, it's all bad business,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time they understand that whether it's good or bad or whatever is
Mm-hmm.
immaterial
Right.
because it is business.
Yes.
And because it is business, you better have a firm grasp on it, right?
Right.
And so those guys can talk about how they hate it, but you better
Mhm.
believe they're playing the game. Because I
I
mean,
don't think there's any hard quotes out there from Harsin, but the stories are that Harsin doesn't care for the NIL stuff, right? And is
Yeah.
very much of the of Dabo Swinney, thought process when it comes to those kind of things, and maybe a bit of a purist, but at the same time, as freaked out as we used to get off of losing starters, off of transfers, and all of this, Auburn had a mass exodus this year, which I think is absolutely going to affect them this fall.
22 guys
I think it
leaving.
was most in Division One,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
I looked at it earlier and I forgot. So I think there were 26 names in the portal and 26 in the portal and 4 of them were incoming.
Right.
Yeah. So I had that somewhere.
So it kind of Gus Malzahn was really good at getting the transfers in to fill gaps, right? The
Yep.
junior college transfers was a master of that. But was really good at giving Georgia players second chances.
Oh God, yes, and Florida players for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. That Auburn second chance transfer portal.
It's
Or
almost as good as
15th chance for that
Saban's
matter.
coaching clinic, right?
Exactly. A little self-deprecating humor there for Auburn. But let's be honest, they did give some folks like 14th chances. And so yeah, it's tough to know how that's going to affect Auburn. But I think in the
Here it
immediate,
is.
yeah, their depth, everything is going to be affected this year. That's why I lean towards more of the 4-win season than the than the 9-win season.
So what's concerning to me, if I'm an Auburn fan,
Mm-hmm.
is that not only the number of guys, but look at this: wide receiver. Then you got D line, tight end, D line,
Yes.
quarterback, linebacker, D line, cornerback, another cornerback, another
Right.
linebacker, another D line, another safe, another D line, another D line. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
yeah, it's losing guys is rough.
I think Auburn is on the edge of if Harsin is indeed the guy. Well, he's got a lot to sort out, and if he doesn't, yeah, that was about to say Tennessee, welcome to the club. Auburn is on the cusp of becoming what Tennessee became for quite a few years, and I don't think Auburn fans realize that because of the unreasonable expectations they've had. Because Auburn every 2 or 3 years will come up and have like crazy seasons, beat number 1 teams, play for the SEC title and or play in contention the SEC West. I think those days we're on the edge of those being behind us for a few years and wandering the wilderness for a while.
You guys are you saying that a reasonable expectation, or excuse me, a reasonable goal for each year would just be get bowl eligible?
I think so, and my personal feelings is that unless Harsin is something I don't think he is, and within a couple of years figures it out, Auburn's going to be in the market for another coach. They're going to be paying that, just like that second chance transfer portal. We love firing coaches and paying them tons of money, right? And so they're probably going to be paying a chunk of a buyout, Harsin, and it depends on what coaches are available, but this is not the time for instability in college football.
Correct.
And Auburn is so unstable right now.
So I want to ask. I have is it 5 coordinators now that have left?
I believe so. When you're an Auburn fan, you just kind of say, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to think about it.
So I can, all right. So I get it. Like Bobo came back to Georgia. He's been with us before in the past, and he the baby bird flies back home to the nest and all that good business. is this? Talking about my Puma? Where's it at? Right there? Yeah. Please. So the one that I'm most curious about though is Derek Mason. So I thought that Derek Mason did a really good job last year with Auburn's defense. Auburn's defense was very solid and
They
very
were.
very stingy.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me, ask Alabama.
Watch
Like,
the Iron
Right.
Bowl.
or go
Yeah.
back and watch the Iron Bowl.
Right.
Alabama could not get out of the freaking locker room because Auburn was holding the door, right?
Right.
And so at the end of the season, you think, all right, so it wasn't such a great season, but really Auburn didn't give up all that much. It's like even the teams that were supposed to quote unquote steamroll them didn't exactly do that.
A few plays go. It's one of those seasons where we've had fluky seasons in the past where the ball bounced the way that we needed it to, right?
Sure, yeah.
And you have games like the Mississippi State game, the ones that got away, and you're looking at maybe a 8-win season, and that's a whole hell of a lot better than what happened, and attitudes would have been a little different just because of the way that the circumstances were in the games. I think we're looking at another very similar season. It just depends on where the plays break in a lot of cases. But I know that the teams with depth are going to beat Auburn.
I want to know the answer to this question, though. Why did Derek Mason leave to go to Stillwater?
That is why I think Harson's going to be gone in a couple of years. It's one thing, and this is a conversation I had with someone. Someone was like, he's an authoritarian, he does it, by the book, and he's a strong guy, and we need a strong person with these trustees we have. And I'm like, well, then why does Saban have such stability in his program? Yes, coordinators come and go with Saban as well, but they don't quit a month after he hires them.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Right. And take a unilateral job move. You know what I mean? Like,
if that, right? Like, I mean, that's what we were looking at. That's more of the things that has me concerned, right? You have legacy players transferring. You have huge amounts of players transferring. On social media, yes, some of the black players defended Harsin, but let's be honest, there were a lot of the black players that said that Harsin had a hard time identifying with them and their situation coming from some of the backgrounds that they came from. And that's troubling. So I have reasons for not caring for Harsin, but at the same time, like, there's not a lot of good signs for long-term stability or for him being able to be successful at the school.
Right on. Hey boys, that's been excellent. I want to talk a little bit more about not just what's changing, but what's going to stay the same. But before we do that, I think we need to take a look at this real quick.